My turn.
Okay, it's 6:30. Call the board march for the school board of trustees to order. We'll all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Adoption of agenda. It is recommended that the agenda of the March 10th, 2022 regular meeting of this Board of School Trustees be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second. Josh, vote. Approval of minutes. Recommended that the minutes of the February 10th, 2022 regular meeting of the Board of School Trustees be approved as presented.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Now we're up to the spotlight. Rachel Foxworthy and Ryan Hall, graduate from Pathways in College and Career Readiness, student presentation on the field trip.
All right, we'll go first and then let the kids take over. We just started this program maybe 2-3 months ago, right around Christmas time. We purchased, or not we purchased, you all purchased, a way for us to kind of track the graduation pathways for all of our students. And it's called Standard for Success. We're going to kind of go through this. Oh, wrong thing. Sorry. We'll go through this and then we'll show you how the program actually works. We'll have some examples that we can show you. Every student in the state of Indiana has to have a graduation pathway, and there's different pathways that they have to graduate. So Rachel's goal and Mr. Shaby's goal last year was trying to collect the data for us to have pathways, and there's so many different things that you had to collect. I think we had like a Google spreadsheet how we were keeping track of everything, which it worked, but it was just really time consuming. And if Mr. Shaby had the spreadsheet going and Rachel had it going, people were adding stuff and subtracting stuff and you just couldn't keep track of all of it. So this is one way where it's all put together. So Standard for Success, it helps schools collect and analyze the graduation pathways data. And kind of like I said, it makes tracking and reporting pathways simpler and organizes data into understanding reports for counselors and administrators. So it really has made everybody's job easier when it comes to it. And it allows data tracking under the different types of pathways or diplomas, Perkins 4, Perkins 5, or the next level program of study pathway options. So some of you may like, what are those? But they're just different pathway options. And you'll see whenever a student would take a class or gets credit for it, it goes towards their pathway, and this program does it all for us. So it's really made things easier for all of us.
So, you can just stand there. That's
Okay.
okay. Yeah. So graduation pathways, the way that we collect data is each student has to fulfill 3 different buckets. So basically bucket 1 is that they earn a diploma in the state of Indiana, which is either Core 40 with academic honors, Core 40 with technical honors, a general diploma, or a certificate of completion. And the nice thing that we like about graduation pathways is it lays everything out for you credit by credit all in one place. We do have that capability within Harmony, but you have to go to so many different places to see all the same data. As we're going to show you guys in a minute, you can pull up one student and just see a snapshot of everything, which is kind of nice. Another favorite feature is you can track NCAA and NAIA eligibility. It'll tell you everything that they need. We haven't really had that in one place before, so that's really nice. Box 2, employability, so whether they do a project-based learning experience, service-based, or work-based, we can track that and upload documentation. We also are able to track their post-secondary readiness competencies, their testing scores, certifications or apprenticeships, and what classes they take at school at Fountain Central that count as career and technical education classes.
And we'll show you these different reports, but the Core 40 report, which is what kind of most students go for, the Core 40 diploma, it tracks credits needed and earned for all of the cohorts. So for every grade, We don't just start looking at seniors or even juniors now. We have all cohorts taken care of. It shows us who has passed the ASVAB, who's passed the SAT test, which the SAT now is big because there is no I-step, and it gives us updates. So you will see on here, if a student hasn't passed, it'll tell you that they still need that towards their graduation. Or if they have passed, then they usually get a green check mark that says they're good to go. In Grade Manager, flexibility to compare diploma tracks. So if you are a student who's Core 40, but you may want to get an academic diploma, it'll show you what you need to take and what you have to get to get the academic diploma instead of the Core 40. Or if you started off as an academic diploma and you're kind of struggling, it'll show you what you can do to get the Core 40, which is kind of nice too, because they can just see it. And then sample student, we have that, and we'll show you that in a second. Does anybody have any questions as we're going through this?
So SATs now has to be taken no matter if they go to college or not, correct?
Yes, it's
In the junior year.
It's a graduate.
Yeah, so it used to be the I-step, you had to take the I-step and pass it. Now it's SAT. So the good thing is the state doesn't charge the juniors to take it. So you get one shot of taking the SAT for free, which back in our day, we had to pay to take it. And if you didn't do well, you had to pay to take it again. But they'll pay one time, right?
Yeah. So the next slide, which I think this is one of the coolest features that there are with it, is the Core 40 report. So we kind of blocked out there where that white box
where
is,
their names would be.
so that you wouldn't see that kind of data. But basically, across the top, it gives you like different English, basically the Core 40 classes that you have to take. And by clicking on each one of those small boxes, it instantly populates a report that tells you, so we had this one's class of 2023. If you click on Algebra 1, it'll instantly fill it with any kid in that class who did not pass that class. So it just, for counselors, it is a fabulous feature. You can go across with all of the required classes and it will just instantly give you a snapshot of it that quick. Otherwise, we're going back and looking at transcripts and running reports to see failures. It's really nice to see that all in one place. And you can do it for, you could check all the top boxes.
You could click all there and it would be all of our students.
Every student, or you could do it by grade level. So that's a really nice feature.
Is this automatically synced with Harmony, or do you pull the data when you need it?
It is automatically synced, but one thing they told us in our training is we need to start a process of weekly just uploading the transcripts, just so that it's more real time. But yeah, you don't have to, once they got everything onboarded for us, we don't have to do anything to have that data go to them. So
This is really gonna help a kid that slips through the cracks back in the day. It's gonna be helpful for those things that
Well, and
one
what
class is
Mrs.
lacking.
Foxworthy is saying too, I'm kind of upset that this is here a year later. And she's saying, you can click that box to get to Algebra 1 and see students that are deficient in that category. Literally, the old way of doing it was printing or creating a document of every kid's transcript and going through and searching it with your eyes.
Right.
highlighting.
And hoping you didn't miss one.
Yeah.
taking human error
And
out of it.
really, I have used this since we got it on a senior student, just because I would go across and check all the boxes, like, is there anything we've missed? Because with over 400 kids, it's a lot to track. There was one student that popped up real quick that he was a transfer in and he only had one PE credit. It's like, okay, we know we got to get that taken care of this semester. So it really does help with anything that you may have missed along the way. Just because they failed one semester doesn't mean they didn't get it the second semester, but you just may not have recognized that right away. So it really is really helpful for that.
Wow,
Great.
good tool.
And the next one is the standardized test, so it would be a different click or whatever. But it's the same thing. We got rid of the names, but it just tells you right here if they pass the ASVAB, and then we would click on another one and it would show you the SAT scores and whether they pass. So again, it's the same thing. Like this one, I think we did all, so all of our classes were on there. But it goes by your student number. It tells you whether you passed. If you pass the ASVAB, you have a pathway. If you pass the SAT, you have a pathway.
So if you don't pass, say the ASVAB, then they have to take it again?
They do have to take it again, or they got to find a different pathway, which there's other pathways, but the easiest way to get your pathway is to pass the ASVAB.
We're getting ready to give the ASVAB again on Monday, just with a group of about 16 kids who didn't get a pathway through SAT, or they've attempted usually a couple different ways of getting a pathway and they haven't successfully completed it. So we're just doing another group. The military's coming, they give that test. Like, yeah, it's really the quickest way to get them a pathway. The nice thing about this too, again, you can filter and see everybody all at once school-wide, so it gives you historical data as well. So it's just really nice to see everything all in one spot really quickly.
Okay, so we'll click on this and it's gonna take us to the website and we'll show you an example student. I talked with Austin Pickett already and he gave me permission to use his information, so I don't think he has anything to hide. I could have used Carter if I knew you were gonna be here, but those guys do really well in school, so they're not really gonna be ashamed of anything, so. Okay, yeah.
So this is what the dashboard looks like for a student, any student inside of Standard for Success graduation pathways. So when I talked about the different boxes, box 1 is here in the gray, Indiana diploma designation. One really nice feature that I also like is you can say, okay, right now Austin is targeting the academic honors diploma, but let's say halfway through his high school career it wasn't working out, he got some grades lower than a C minus, he's all of a sudden his GPA has dropped, and we need to put a different diploma track in. It will automatically show you what credits he's got towards that diploma, what credits he still needs. So if you want to click on, let's do technical, well, let's see which one, let's try Core 40. It just automatically gives you a report, and you can scroll down and it tells you exactly how the credits counted, what grades that they got, and those. So that's a really nice feature. We used that in a case conference this year where we were looking at, there's a student who was on the Core 40 track and we want to look at another track, and so we could provide that to a parent, say, you know, this is a diploma we're looking at, here's another one, what do we want to do? So it gives us a lot of good information really quickly. If you scroll on down, up above there, it also shows that he passed the I-STEP, so that fulfilled his, one of his boxes.
Okay. There's his ASVAB score. I think 31 is passing, right?
Yeah. Box 2 is down below, so he has had a work-based learning experience. He worked at Suzy Q's. We're able to, right here in this view, upload documentation from the employer. We are also able to send an email out to a student, hey, we don't have your employability skills letter, you need to get that into us. And so you can do that all from right here.
So I download those and I just put them right in there and it's downloaded right there.
So that's
what you signed for Lane Lakes.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay.
This is a state requirement that they have employment.
Yes, that's another thing. They have to show that they worked, got paid for a job within their 4 years of high school. That's part of a pathway too. If not, then they have to go.
Another way of
do
doing
a
it.
project-based or a service-based.
Yeah, project-based can include like being in one of Mr. Turner's STEM engineering classes. Service-based could include like time in 4-H, or say you were in band and you were a section leader, some sort of leadership opportunity where you're not just a member, but you do something that we can document, you can reflect on that experience. Box 3, the post-secondary readiness competencies. I feel like that's the area that takes the biggest amount of our time in tracking, because we're looking at, this is where we say, what's your pathway? Academic honors is one way of getting it, the ASVAB is one way of getting it, an SAT score, or those credits that you've gotten. So if he, click on the CTE concentrator down below. Where is it?
Right there.
Click on the targeted though, right to the left. And then go down and select concentrator. So let's say, what would be some classes that Austin might have taken?
Ask Carter, he's got the same ones.
Carter, what kind of classes did he ever do engineering classes at all?
No, he took, I know he took.
What about
a math.
business?
Yeah, I think he took a business.
Try that, business or ed. So you would do Perkins 4, P4. Look for like an entrepreneurship or something, P4 in entrepreneurship. Start with the E down below. Is there one there? Yeah, so try that, business management. So at that point, it's going to automatically populate, okay, it recognizes that he was working towards a CTE concentrator status in his pathway, and he took 3 classes, the Intro to Business, both semesters, and 1 semester preparing for college and career that counted towards that pathway. And you can just choose anything, and it will automatically recognize what classes. Under Perkins 4, you had to have 6 credits to satisfy a pathway, but he doesn't need that. He's got it through his academic honors. There's just a lot of ways that you can fulfill that box. Just the nice thing is that data is all right there in one place.
Did you guys have to input all that?
Yeah, at Harmony, we have to choose. It's the same kind of thing. It's a drop down, and you have to choose. Just the difference is all being in one spot. I feel like Harmony just isn't quite as user-friendly as this is. It's just very comprehensive in one spot.
And they were able to get some stuff from Harmony.
To put on there. That's great. That's great.
And state reports and things from the last few years, they got to and were able to populate a lot of information.
That's great.
Yeah. So there is quite a bit of data tracking. Just looking at this and being one student.
It looks like a great tool for you guys.
Yeah, it's a good tool. So, you guys have any questions about it?
Now, I just want to tell you, when Crystal and I went out to the School Board Association Fall Conference, Standard for Success is where our teacher evaluations, it's the company that we have for that, we had a contract with, and they had a booth, a vendor booth out there, and I stopped and saw this and brought it back to them and said, hey, you want to investigate this? Because I knew that they were doing stuff, sorry Phil, that was lots of different pieces here and there and trying to pull it together. So when I saw this and then shared it with them, then they went through all the training for it. But another nice feature of this, for me, as the superintendent, obviously I can see every employee's evaluation or observation data and so forth. But now when I log into SFS, it automatically takes me to this so I can see every student and where we are on tracking and things like that, or I can flip over to staff observations. So this tool has been really nice for that. And then the other thing, for the first 3 years for it, I used ESSER funds to pay for it because it tied into getting our students caught back up and making sure they're on track and so forth. So, I told them, we've got at least that first few years with ESSER funds to see if this is going to be a useful and helpful tool, and it looks like it is. And so then moving forward, we'll look at how we sustain that, because this is just the inordinate amount of data that we have to have for the state. Even employability skills is going into how schools are going to be graded and things like that, and this is just going to help us to be.
So is this a web-based or a server-based? Is it like on a web backup, or is it backed up to a cloud, or?
I guess I'm not sure.
I don't think it's backed up to the cloud. I don't think you just.
It's web-based.
It's all online.
Yeah.
All online.
It's all
We don't
web-based.
post anything.
Okay, that's what I was wondering.
One thing I will say is, in 2018, when I started here, Mrs. Hammond approached me about using Standard for Success at that time. And I was new to the position and was learning it, and I really felt like, let's just give Harmony a shot and let's not go, take on any additional costs. She was more than willing to purchase this at that time, and then as time has gone on and I really got into the job and realized how much it really is, and Dr. Grimes brought it to our attention again. I thought, okay, this is the second time I've heard it, and now I do see a little bit more use for it, so that's kind of why we went after it this time. So wasn't the first go round that we've talked about it, but it is very valuable as far as just the amount of data that it collects for you in a really nice way. It just puts it all together for you.
Okay, good. All right, you guys doing
Hey,
good?
that was the appetizer, now it's
That was the-
Main course, time for the main course.
Before we start, I'd like to say we made brownies after school, and this is not our attempt to bribe you guys or persuade you.
But it's a good start, right?
Yes. We made them to sweeten the dough.
Sweet,
Very well
I
said.
got that.
Good plan, Shakira.
All right, game faces.
Thank you, we'll pass these around.
My game face is ugly.
Come on, guys.
Back them individually.
Gotcha.
Did they do 5 or 6?
Oh, I see.
Does anybody have the computer that has it?
Here.
Yep.
If they only did the board, I could shortchange Christie.
Oh, my. We got one extra down there.
Kind of stand alone.
Looks like you're eating too.
Hey, guys.
This is a tiny area.
Can you guys all kind of stand around here so they can all see your faces?
Let's not block the TV here. That's what I'm trying.
Here, I'll move.
Car jam.
Alright, so I'm just keeping.
Jump rope.
Wanna play jump rope? Okay.
Yep.
Trying to see my name.
Alright, you guys ready? You're on.
Hi, I'm Skylar Million.
I'm Ethan Campbell.
I'm Josh Hannon.
I'm Shakira Blue.
I'm Alex Simon. I'm Sebastian Myers.
And this is our trip plan to Indiana Beach.
There are 6 of us, and the tickets cost $40 per person. We did $40 times 6, which equals $240.
Here's our ways to get money to go to the Indiana Beach.
Cookie bake sale.
Lemonade salt.
Car wash.
Help janitors clean school.
Sell neckties.
Take out the school trash.
Poison
Versus
salt.
sales.
Book sale.
Sell drawings.
Teacher lunch free-bowl donation.
If you guys have any questions while throughout the presentation, you guys may ask.
Can you explain to them what are you trying to do?
Well, Miss Peterson first introduced us to like miniature field trips that we can kind of do here and there just as a little thing to get out of the school for a bit, learn, get more of an outside experience of certain things. Like I don't remember when, but Friday we went to Kroger to get ingredients for smoothies, which taught us money management and teamwork, and to communicate better with people. So while she was telling us like little plans of stuff, we came up, we students started talking about like field trips that we could possibly do, and our first original plan, which you would see in one of these slides, were pretty outrageous. So we starting to look at other things that we could possibly do nearby, and we came up with several ideas.
Last year say your first plan you guys probably wouldn't have approved.
What was the first one?
You'll find out.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
How far is Indiana Beach Boardwalk Resort? It's 1 hour and 26 minutes, and the miles are 67.2 mi away.
The hours for Indiana Beach. It opens 10 till 8 and opens up on April 30th.
The photos that we want to go on the rides with and all that.
You just go right ahead.
Move on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, move on indeed.
Okay.
Here's our thoughts and comments.
I believe we should go because of all the hard work that we did, and I think we should have fun as a group.
I believe we should go because I think we deserve a nice day out as a group for some fun.
I believe we should go there because we are good students. We are doing the right thing for Fountain Central. We have made the school proud. We deserve it for all of our hard work.
I believe we should go because we deserve it for the tough years and few past days, and we are trying to get good grades and for the year and trying to be good and respectful for others and being helpful.
I believe we will be delighted to go because we deserve a nice vacation from all the hard work throughout the years. Who can argue with that?
Anyone? No. We can't argue.
Well, we will learn. we'll learn to bond as a group, get along and appreciate each other better, because throughout a couple of days and throughout the school year, we have our differences. We kind of have our little situations here and there with each other. So I think this would kind of bring us together, learn a little bit more about each other, and hopefully be better friends. And to appreciate the people that will help this dream come true, we'll also learn about money management. That's what the main part about this is to learn money management, because in our future, if we can't learn how to handle our money and just spend it like a bunch of lunatics on random things that we don't need.
And also, we wanted something different in a field trip. We feel this was a better option.
Yeah.
Things we will need to bring for the trip.
Water bottle, extra shoes.
Swimsuit,
Sunscreen,
bag full of swimsuit,
A stack lunch.
Money in case you want to go to the gift shop.
Hats.
sunglasses,
flip flops.
and extra socks.
And hats.
We already did
I said
hats.
that.
I didn't get that.
You need an extra hat.
Our original plan was a trip to Disney World.
yeah.
And we all looked at the cost, and it was almost $8,000. So we all looked at Indiana Beach, and we felt like it was more reasonable than to a trip to Disney World. We also discovered Disney World was a 2-day drive, and Indiana Beach was only a half an hour away. So we figured out this was the better option.
That's fair.
How many people going? There are going to be 6 kids and 3 grown-ups, so 9 people going to be on this trip. All in May. And the trip is going to be in May.
Transportation. We'll take the minibus, and this guy right there agrees to drive it. That's right, we're looking at you, Mr. Hall.
Departing time. We'll be leaving at school at 8:15, and we should arrive there at 9:45, and we'll be leaving around 1:15 and should be back at school around 2:45. So we should be back in plenty of time to catch the buses, because in a little issue with I think in one of the slides, we were running into an issue of the opening time of Indiana Beach. So we were kind of stuck in a kind of loop of when it's going to open, and we were hoping that it was going to open somewhere near before summer ends. And we're also in a little situation where the day that it opens, and plus when Mr. Good got us a 50 or like a coupon off for our tickets to go there. It's on a specific day, and we're in the kind of issue of if that day we're going to be there on school, or it's going to be like on a flex day, which is going to make going there to a whole different story of a problem that we're going to have to face.
But we'll figure that out if we get approved, right?
Yes, we'll definitely figure that out.
Rides we would love to go on.
I picked the Ferris wheel.
Just like we
I'm a lot free mom.
Lots rider.
Because you wouldn't want about a Ferris wheel.
T-shirts for the trip. We decided to have Mr. David to make the T-shirts with Mr. Hall's face on it and his email. So if one of us leaves the group, they can find us, and the cost of the shirt will be $9. So altogether, it would cost $374, included the cost with the T-shirts.
So let me tell you something that we kind of forgot to fix is the cost, because when we looked at the cost, we thought there was 8 people going, but then we looked that it's only 6 kids, and I think the grown-ups, if this again gets approved, is going to maybe be paying for themselves. So we lowered it up from 8, because when we did the math of 8 people, it was 340. So when we redid the math, it went from 200 to 40, and so we forgot to fix that because our original cost was $340. So we completely forgot to do that. And Ethan came up with the idea to add Mr. Hall's face on it, because how can you miss this? How can you miss it?
It was all her, everybody. All her.
But you know what it's like to me most, because this is a horrible way that people go on his phone.
Yeah,
For a second, we put your picture on there with your phone number.
Yeah, our first idea was to add his phone number, then we kind of was like, now we don't want just a bunch of strangers blowing up his phone, just like ring, 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 hi.
And don't, none of us don't get attention getting lost.
And also, the only reason why we did this is because a field trip back in elementary I remembered. I don't remember which field trip, but each group that we separated in, one group had like a different colored shirt or like a little like cloth or like something on us. So if just in case, because we're in a big area full of people, so it is a possible chance. It might be a small, but it's also kind of a big chance with a bunch of people kind of bumping into you, trying to squeeze through everyone, that maybe at least one child might get separated. And then you could be like walking up to like a staff member or like maybe like just a random stranger that you may or may not trust and be like, hey, I belong to a group with this colored shirt and this man's face on it. Can you help me find them?
Sounds like the judges need to field trip, I bet.
Continue.
Backup plan to Turkey Run or get air. We came up with the idea to go to Turkey Run if the plan can't work out. There are 6 kids and it's $2 per person, so that would be $12 from Petersburg to Turkey Run in 27 minutes. Get air, so there are 6 kids, $25 per person, so that would be $150, 53 minutes, 38.4 miles.
So when this was all together, I started looking at it closely, and it didn't make sense because when it got to the 27 minutes part, because this was all together, somebody would said from Petersburg to Turkey Run is 27 minutes, get air, so there is 6 kids in it. So I was trying to figure out how to separate it, but looking at it now, it still kind of doesn't make sense because it just skips some sentences and just goes to get air, so.
That looks good, Skylar.
So part of it is, if the board thinks that it's too much to go to Indiana Beach, not money-wise, or just too much of a day for us, then Plan B, they would like to go to Turkey Run. And if we can't agree on Turkey Run, or if we can't get into Indiana Beach because of the dates, this is Plan B, and get air would be Plan C.
So yeah, this is our A, B, and C plan of just in case if this can't be agreed.
But you'd still get the t-shirts no matter what, right?
Yeah, we'll still definitely get the teachers' names. Heck, I'll even make you guys make a deal. If we don't even get to go, we'll still.
Can we still get the t-shirt?
Still get the t-shirt.
Everyone gets a shirt. Everyone gets a shirt. We should even make a dress up, we should make like a dress up day with every teacher and every student with Mr. Hall's face on it. Just a dress up day with Mr. Hall's face. What's up,
Can I ask a question? What is Get Air? What is that?
It's like a trampoline park. It's like a trampoline or like a bouncy castle place.
Okay, that's
And
good.
we decided maybe we don't get approved this year, maybe we can go next year.
I think this might be the last
So
slide.
you don't have to do your, like,
It is the last slide, Skylar. We can make sure all you have to do is cut the finish line.
your sales pitch from last time.
So yeah, this was our trip to. Was our plan to get a trip plane to Indiana Beach, and we all hopefully think that you guys might agree to it. The only other situation that we might run into is actually getting the money in general. Because me personally, by looking at everything that's already being in the school, like with some places in school, teachers and also in the library, people are already selling food and drink, so it'd also be hard trying to sell things at school, and it also decides on what we're going to sell because people with allergic reactions, people might not be like what we're selling, and selling books is going to be also hard because where are we going to find just random books laying about? And the other problem that we're running into is if we can even work for the school and get slightly paid for it. That's the only problem that we're all running into, because our age, we're at school, it's kind of impossible to kind of not but also kind of work at a place which the government kind of needs to know that you have kids working at the school.
Right.
So that's the only problem that we might run into is, yes, we have very great things of doing to get the money. It's the only problem because it's going to have to be during school that it's just going to be working for the school part that we might have a little situation with, because it's kind of impossible for even you guys, if you can even manage to pull it, is gaining money for our work. Because as probably you guys can figure it out, you have to have a job application, you have to inform governmental officials or at least somebody that you have new people working for you, so they can know oh, you have new people, we're okay with that. So that's the only situation that we run into that's possibly a problem, but we're going to try to figure it out with you guys, some other people. So that's the only issue that we run into is trying to do things for the school and possibly get paid for it. So that's the only problem.
Yeah. Oh, and it was Miss Foxworthy's idea that, because she's going to be supplying us with this, we sell popsicles if you guys approve the trip and you guys are okay with us selling stuff in the school.
If anyone please the board of the school.
So I think we can probably just decide tonight would you like that? If we can decide right now, would you be excited about that?
Oh, you guys can take as long as you want. This isn't a.
Sit down, they're gonna vote.
And I'll add this. I might know a company that maybe would be willing to donate some money towards this through a donation. So I'll work that out with Mrs. Foxworthy and
with the man on the shirt.
And the man on the shirt. Yeah. So, board, what do we think? We got a motion for this?
A motion to approve the.
Motion to approve the trip.
Motion to approve the field trip.
We got a second?
Second.
Let's take a vote. Who's in favor of them getting their field trip? Look at that.
And just so you guys know, you guys did an awesome presentation.
Me and the mates have been working very hard on it.
You did a great job.
You did a fantastic job.
Isn't it? All that work and a little bit of nervousness, but it was worth it, wasn't it?
My ear. Well, at least you don't clap like me.
Mr. Sheep.
He's right there, man.
What did he say?
The Mr. Hall debate.
What's he think?
Now, there is one requirement. We would love to see a picture of all of you in your Mr. Hall t-shirts
Yes.
Yeah.
from
We
the
need a
field
group
trip.
photo.
Okay.
Oh, definitely. Definitely a group photo.
Yeah.
Kind of like a selfies kind of situation.
That's right.
Before we do anything, we have to stay in the front of the bush.
But also, let me tell you another thing. I was also talking about to everyone else is if the plan didn't get worked out and if we worked a bit too early on getting the money, if it didn't get accepted and we had to go to plan A, plan B, or C, we still have money to use further on to the future for something else in mind.
That's great.
Good thinking.
You guys are right.
First off, I'd like to say thank you for approving the budget and beach. Now, second, if we have enough extra money, we can make you guys teach you small space too.
Thank you for for the brownies too.
Yes, thank you for the brownies.
Thank you.
We were kind of on the fence until we got the brownies, but.
Thank you guys for approving the field trip. And we'll work extra hard.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Very good job tonight.
But
Very
we
good.
also, again, thank you for taking your patience and your time to listen to our presentation, so we thank you very much.
It was our pleasure. It really was. You guys did fantastic.
It was a pleasure to meet all of you.
Good to meet you all.
Thanks, guys, for coming.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Easy. I probably can do that.
Miss Foxworthy, is there a bathroom here so I can switch back into my old clothes?
There sure is.
Because I kind of need to do that. Can you switch back into my old clothes?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh, for making this happen as well.
Well, that's a hard act to follow.
Yeah.
I'd reckon.
Okay, so we'll move on. We have statements, questions from the public. Amber Hudson.
I really don't want to follow that. That's great. I just wanted to let you guys know, just to be aware, we found out today, there is a lady coming to the Senior Center in Covington on Monday night. She is from Appleton, Wisconsin. She's with Freedom Project Academy out of Appleton, Wisconsin, I'm sorry. And her name is Mary Black. She is with John Birch Society, which I know a little bit about, not tons. And she's doing a discussion and a lecture on, she is the elementary director with this Freedom Project. It's an academy, it's a private school. And she's going to discuss how the CRT is being put into the schools without people realizing it's coming. The different wording that they're using now, because CRT is something that makes everybody turn away from it. If you're on one side or the other, there's no gray in this part of it. And she's just going to have a presentation on how that is being brought in underneath the radar in some areas, and it is how it is. She has proof how it's actually starting to hit the state of Indiana. I know our small school here, we're not seeing it as much, but they are trying to get the state of Indiana's changing the curriculum taught. And I know we teach the state of Indiana's curriculum. So that's not necessarily the battle being here in this school board, but at the state level, if anybody is interested in going.
What date was that?
It's Monday night, 6 o'clock at the Senior Center in Covington. And her name is Mary Black, and I did a little research on her today just to make sure. I got it from a legitimate person who's going in the state. So, but I just did a little research on my own, and I'm definitely going to go just to see that site, see what she has. So I thought you guys might be interested in knowing that also.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Administrative recommendations. It is recommended that the claims numbered 3780 through 3872 be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Personnel. It's recommended that the resignation of Amanda Froge as an instructional aide at Fountain Central Junior Senior High School be approved as presented.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? It's recommended that the resignation of Taylor Hands as a bus driver be approved as presented.
Motion. Oh, go ahead.
Amy?
I'll second.
Ken? All in favor? It is recommended that the resignation of Bailey Oakley as an instructional aide at Southeast Fountain Elementary School be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended the continuation of the boys basketball ECA assignment be approved as presented.
I just want to say, according to board policy, the school board votes on the boys basketball head coach and the football coach. Football, normally we do it this time of the year. Football is not in here because you just hired a new coach last month's board meeting. So we didn't need to, he's just been hired. So this would only be for our new basketball coach that's been with us one season.
So I got a question about that since you mentioned the football. So normally would we do the football and the basketball at the same time, or we would do the football right after football season?
Normally we do them at this time so we know if we're going to keep them the next year. We don't have to wait till this time. This has just been looking back at minutes from prior years. This is when you've done it.
Okay.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that Josh Davenport be employed as the principal at Fountain Central Junior Senior High School for the 2022 through 2023 school year.
Motion.
Josh,
Go ahead.
Josh is a graduate of Fountain Central. He has worked in the district for a number of years here and currently is the assistant principal at the elementary school. He has done a great job over there and shown significant growth in his leadership and his ability to take the reins of a building. And I think since we had a resignation at the high school and that opening, I think that he is an outstanding choice to become the next principal of Fountain Central Junior Senior High.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Congratulations, Josh.
It would have been fun to kind of tease you and say, well.
Free too, maybe
But welcome.
It is recommended that, how do you say her last name?
Kelly Wontuck.
Kelly Wontuck be employed as the art teacher at Fountain Central Junior Senior High School for the 2022 through 2023 school year.
If I may, I had the opportunity to interview and recommend Kelly's hire. She's 4 years experienced as an art instructor at Crawfordsville High School. Also has a lot of experience as a professional artist. Is from a rural area in the northern part of the state in Amish country. Is intrigued to come to a school similar to ours, which has kind of brought her application our way. Just an extremely passionate person who, you know, I wanted to run into the parking lot after the interview and just make the offer right there. We are losing a tremendous art instructor in Marie McCarty, who's leaving the state. And we are just very fortunate to have had Mrs. Wontuck fall into our lap, and I know she's extremely excited to be over here next year, so we really are fortunate here.
Right.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that Amber Edwards be employed as long-term sub for Donna Shafretto's medical leave.
Motion.
Is there anything
You want to say anything with that, or?
She was super willing and so were we. So Amber came highly recommended us by a couple staff members. While she is not degreed in the field of education, she's very interested in pursuing it. She is a Covington graduate and worked as a cadet teacher in the special education department at the high school and the life skills program. So she was very interested in stepping into a special education role with us. She is married to an FC graduate, so she's familiar with the community, and so we were really excited to take someone who's eager to learn on for the remainder of the year.
Second.
Amy was first, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All in favor? It is recommended that the maternity leave request made by Megan Bowling be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the maternity leave request made by Katie Clark be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the maternity leave request made by Lisa Parker be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second. Go ahead, Kim.
Kim, all in favor? I'd like to see maternity leaves, whether I really want to say that out loud or not, but that's
The
good.
board asked me what my plan is because we've been losing students and if there's empty classrooms, and I said, I'm going to go door to door and ask people to please have babies. So it's good to see that many of our staff members are, helping out.
Helping out the cause.
It's a 5-year plan.
Yeah, right.
And any of you that are in the room, well, okay, not you two. Yeah. Anyone else in the room, feel free to help us out.
Yeah. Donation. A motion was made that a $2,000 anonymous donation to the Fountain Central Housing Project be approved as presented. Do you want to say anything about
The
that?
donor does not want to be named and recognized for who they are, but it was a very generous offer to our district. And for those of you who have not been by the house lately, in Petersburg at Main and 7th Street, I urge you to go there and see what our kids have been working on. Earlier this week, those of us that work here in central office got to go over and take a tour inside the house. They were putting up drywall at the time and talking with Mr. Acton, they're on schedule and should have the house finished on time. And board members, if any of you at any time would like a tour of the house while they're still working on it, please let me know and I'll arrange that. And for the entire community, once the house is finished, we certainly want to have an open house, something there not to compete with our elementary building open house, but we want to have a community event so that the community can see the house that was built by our CTE program, which includes a number of Southeast Mountain students as well as those within our CTE cooperative from a few of the other various schools.
Motion?
Motion?
Crystal? Kim second. Kim second, yeah. All in favor? Quotes. A motion was made that the quote from Lakeshore Learning Materials in the amount of $11,266.57 be approved as presented. This will be used to purchase new supplies for the preschool program at the elementary school.
These supplies will be paid for out of the Build, Learn, Grow Stabilization Grant that Kelly and her team have worked on. But because it's over the $10,000, even though the grant funds are there to pay for it, we need your approval for them to order the materials.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? The next two items on the list we're going to table. Correct?
The next two were for lighting, LED lighting in the gyms, cafeteria, and pool area at Fountain Central Junior High, and for the installation of that. However, right before the meeting, I was notified by Mr. York that one of these companies just sent him back a message and said they sent the wrong quote. So I've asked the board to table it and we'll look at it in April. But what I will say is, once again, that rebate that was available last year that helped us do all of the lighting between the elementary and middle and the junior senior high school, that's back on the table again, so it's going to help us do more of that once we get an accurate quote for you to approve.
Great.
So we'll skip down. A motion was made that the quote from Curlin Bus Sales in the amount of $209,866 to purchase two 66-passenger school buses for the 2022 calendar year be approved as presented.
Okay. When you approved the budget, you approved for, in our capital projects, for two school buses. Normally, I come to you around November or so and get approval to actually order them and purchase them. However, I was notified that if we do it right now, we still get last year's price quote, which is ending now. If I wait till November, this price is going to increase. So it's not likely that we're going to get these buses real early because everything is on a delay. But by ordering them right now, we're locking in this price instead of a raised price.
So will this be the 2023 year?
This is
22?
It's the 2022.
Fall 2022.
But we usually order them in November.
Yeah.
We're just ordering early to save money.
Motion.
Amy,
Second.
Wait, how are we going?
Amy, motion.
Kim, second.
Okay.
All in favor? Other business. A motion was made to grant the superintendent permission to reorganize the current staff at Southeast Fountain School Corporation for the 2023-2024 school year.
Okay, what I would like to be able to do, just in general, Ryan Hall is currently our director of the virtual academy. You'll recognize him when you see his picture on a shirt.
Yeah.
He is also the SEL coordinator and college and career readiness coordinator. Both are things that were paid for out of a grant, and those grants are running out. However, since you have approved for Josh to go to the high school, I would like to continue having Ryan as virtual academy director, move his office over to the elementary where he can also serve as a dean there and give Kelly some support. So I do not plan on posting a 5th administrator job. Our 4 principals and our athletic director are the 5 that we currently have. But as I've said all along, since we keep losing students, I have to look at how we spend our money, how we can do things. And I think that it starts at the top with administration, and with our lower number of students, I think we can reduce our number of administrators. And using Ryan over there, that still gives Kelly some support because she's still going to have a big job to do without an assistant principal. Also, because we will no longer have Ryan doing SEL and college career readiness, Rachel Foxworthy, our guidance director, who used to be the CCR coach, she would be taking on again the college career readiness. You saw some of that with the pathways. She would also, with that, be doing the scheduling, things like that with the students. And then the SEL piece of Ryan's current job would then go where it rightly should be with our counselors, Emily at the high school and Tara Sims at the elementary. They would actually get to work with kids and do that part. And really the SEL piece is more, it's about really we call it the Mustang way, the pride, doing it, making good choices. So they would take that on. That would also require, right now, Tara is teaching one of the classes at the elementary during their specials time. And so we would move Carissa Miller, a 1st grade teacher, into the rotation schedule and be able to add STEM for the students there. Based on our number of current kindergartners, we do not believe that we're going to need 4 1st grade teachers. So it's again using the staff better and still meeting the needs. Plus it allows us to add one more program that's STEM. Lindsay has worked really hard applying for a grant to get some things. We're still waiting to hear on that. But even if that grant doesn't come through, the state has a STEM program that we can use. We have a lot of options for that. So that's one of the changes that I want to make as well. So all of these moves, it doesn't involve adding any additional staff. I'm actually reducing a staff member by 1 by not replacing a staff member who resigned. And those are the kinds of things I'm going to look at anytime a staff member resigns. do we have a way to meet those needs without hiring an additional staff member? The art teacher, obviously, we needed to have an art teacher, but sometimes we can make moves without that. So I'd like your permission to be able to make the moves as needed.
I apologize, there is a typo that should read the 2022-2023 school year, next year, not 2 years out. I apologize.
Well, I thought that when I read it, and I thought, okay.
We're planning way out.
Motion.
Second?
All in favor? A motion was made to transition the 6th grade from Southeast Fountain Elementary School to Fountain Central Junior Senior High School starting the 2022-2023 school year.
Okay, I did start collecting, as I stated last month, feedback from community members or staff members or anyone that wanted to share. I did listen and learn in each of the areas, each school and our transportation and maintenance. I got one email from a parent who just wanted to know how this affected financially, if it was meant to save money. Really, it's meant to provide more options for students. Some things that logistically that will happen if you approve this, staffing in addition to those things that could happen if we move 6th grade over there. We would need to move 3 teachers over to the junior senior high. At this point, all 3 6th grade teachers have indicated that they would like to go with the program if you do it. We also would move at least 1 instructional assistant. That was going to be Noe Gonzalez. He is actually already moved over there when Amanda Frosch left, and so he's already filling a role over there. But again, whether we hire an additional instructional assistant at the elementary or not, it's going to depend on what our numbers are looking like this summer. So we're going to get through this year. I've given Kelly permission if she finds a sub for her building, since we let Noe move now. It would be a sub position through the end of the year. And then we'd look and see if that's going to be a position moving forward. So that would be a change. Another change that, to answer questions, and I think Mrs. Hammond and Mr. Shavy, I sent them a lot of questions and they pulled a lot of things together for me. Some of our community asked, where would the junior high be located in the building? And their goal is to put all the junior high in one area. However, there are some things that can't be in that area. For example, when the students go to gym, we can't build another gym in the junior high area. Our art room, our band or choir room, those kind of things are in a more common area that our junior high students, including 6th grade, would have to go to. But most of their core classes, however, would be in one specific area. I asked if it would require other teachers' classrooms to be moved. That was a question by teachers. There would be a couple of moves that would be advantageous in order for us to centralize our junior high, but it would be minimal. And for those teachers that may have to, or it may have to move to a different classroom within the building, then certainly we would work with them and determine how we're going to support that move, if we're going to help them move the things, if they want to pack stuff themselves and move or whatever. I asked, do we have enough classrooms if we move 6th grade over? And while we would be cutting close, we have a science lab that is open right now. We have 3 rooms over there that are only used 2 periods per day that could be consolidated. In a drastic scenario, we could relocate Mustang Mall, but we don't perceive that that's going to have to happen. So confident that with some planning and creativity it can work. And now that we have named Josh as principal there, it's going to be my expectation that Josh help in that planning and getting that set up if you approve the move to 6th grade. Another question that was asked that people were concerned is, what lunch periods would look like. We have people concerned with their 6th grade having lunch with high school kids and so forth. So having 6th, 7th, and 8th all together at lunch isn't possible because that's too many students at one time. But what we are considering, having a lunch period with only 6th and 7th grade, and then the 8th grade would move to the high school lunch period schedule. Try to group as much as possible 8th and 9th grade together for lunch. However, we can't guarantee that there won't be any 10th through 12th with those 8th grade, only because of courses such as choir, band, and art, and how that fits in, or kids who are going to a CTE class that has to be part of a day. But still, those 6th and 7th, and I think people were most concerned about their 6th grade. So keeping 6th and 7th grade together would be the plan. I asked them to give us an example of what a 6th grade student's day would look like. So a student, for example, who is performing at the expected level or high performing would have their 4 core subjects. One period would be PE and health, and currently 6th grade do not get health, so that's an additional option for them. And then they would also have 2 elective periods for their 7-period day. A student who needs some academic support would still have the 4 core subjects. 1 period a day would be a 45-minute lab period, so math lab and language arts lab to get extra support for those students that need that. They would still have a PE health period and an elective period, so they would still get electives too. They've looked at a lot of different elective scenarios. An example, this isn't, of course we want Josh to have a part of this, so nothing is like scheduled yet, but some examples of what we're looking at as electives. In 6th grade, they would have 9-week rotations, and their electives would be digital citizenship, exploring music, facts, and computer science. Our 7th grade, their rotations would be exploring college and careers, creative dramatics, business and information technology, and exploring world languages. And the 8th grade, visual arts, facts, exploring agriculture, and engineering and technology. By doing something like this and giving them all of these electives throughout their junior high, it's going to help our students be more informed of what their options are when they have to go to those pathways, when they have to go to the other things, because while certainly college is an important option for many of our students, it's not the only option. And this gives our students the opportunity to see that there are lots of things that they can do and choices they can make that are going to affect what they do once they leave Fountain Central. So those are some examples too. But I think these logistics just kind of help for you to see that while everything is not set in stone, there's a really good plan. And if you approve the 6th grade tonight, then our next step is to hit the ground running tomorrow and start with the scheduling for students.
Welcome to being principal, Josh.
Do you have any questions for administrators or me about this plan?
You got your work cut out for you. But I think it'll be a good move.
I think even some parents that have their reservations after the first year will understand that this is a great move for the kids' educations.
I'm excited for it myself. So.
Well, then let's vote for it so I can have it.
Got a motion?
Go ahead. I make a motion.
I'll second.
Kim, second. All in favor? A motion was made that the superintendent be granted permission to add Southeast Fountain School Corporation to the Jewel litigation.
So last month during discussion, I shared with you a little bit about litigation that's been started against the Jewel Corporation. and how vaping is affecting all of our schools and taking up so much of our time in the schools. I reached out to them, they sent me the legal documents to sign. I did ask Stu Oliver, our corporation attorney, to look over them, and he felt that everything was as was told in the meeting I attended that I shared with you last month. So with your approval, then I will add us to the list.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Elementary report.
Our third grade students finished the iRead 3 spring administration this week. So they are very excited about that. We had some third grade students write to us that today was National Popcorn Day. So they were all treated to popcorn this afternoon for all of their hard efforts. So we should receive those results within the next 2 weeks. Usually we get back from spring break, we have those to let us know who passed and who would need the summer remediation piece. Student Appreciation Day for our third quarter is this upcoming Wednesday, March 16th. So there'll be a glow party in the gym for all of our students. Kindergarten roundup pre-enrollment is open until April 1st. So right now we have about 40 students who have pre-enrolled with us to attend roundup on the 20th. They do need to fill out that pre-enrollment form before scheduling their appointment with us on the 20th. On April 24th is our 50th anniversary at SEFSC, so all of you have invitations in front of you. We are hosting an open house that day from 1 to 4 p.m. So all of our alumni, retired teachers in the community are welcome to come see our building. There'll be refreshments and some entertainment, and just being able to see our school at its finest after 50 years is really exciting. And other than that, we just wish everyone a safe and fun spring break, and we'll see you in the fourth quarter. It's hard to believe.
Wow, yeah. High school report.
So we've, obviously Dr. Grimes mentioned Noe Gonzalez coming over. I want to say Amanda Froge has left us, and she was an asset to our school, went way above and beyond her job title. Noe seems to be cut from the same cloth. We're excited to have him over there. It's nice to have another member of our coaching staff in the building, and he's already got great relationships with kids that he's just going to be building upon, so we're excited to have Noe. We had our Academic Honors Awards on Monday night here in our gymnasium. We were fortunate to honor 140 students that evening with 191 awards. All 191 of those awards touched my hands, and I got to try to figure out a different way to say congratulations 191 times, but it was fun. 20 students earned an academic letter jacket. We had 10 seniors earn an academic honors blanket, meaning that they, through the fall semester of their senior year, have achieved a cumulative GPA of 3.83 or above. To have 10 kids accomplish that is outstanding. Looking forward to our freshman orientation this Monday night, the 14th. That's at 6 p.m. for incoming 8th grade students. Mrs. Foxworthy, Mrs. Hammond, and I have taken a look at that and tried to continue to improve on what we were able to accomplish with that program last year, and we're excited about that. Speaking of academics and just an outstanding senior class, we have 5 students between our girls basketball program and our boys basketball program that were recognized by their coaches associations as honorable mention for academic all-state for the 21-22 season. That includes Larissa Bowers and Jersey Hirschberger from our girls team. That includes Seth Martin, Jared McCarthy, and Carter Merriman from our boys team. Just an outstanding group of seniors that we're going to graduate this spring, athletically, academically, and just as citizens and ambassadors for our community. So that's just a special group. And then we're 3/4 of the way through. As Ms. Morgan said, our third grading period ends tomorrow. We'll have 3 days for quarter forward, a little bit of a break, and then we're hoping to finish, and we expect to finish the year strong. It's been a good one.
Thanks.
So I gotta ask Mr. Shavy, your first year as assistant principal.
So far, so good.
Liking it?
So far, so great. Yeah, enjoyed it.
Good.
It's been a pleasure.
Can you fill us in on the musical that's this weekend? Or
That you're a part of?
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
got
they're going to? Okay,
Yep, I figured
great.
they'd be on that.
Okay.
Okay. Student report, Carter Merriman, Mary Lee Munez.
FFA week activities included dress-up days and drive your tractor to school day. And then the junior high National Honor Society induction is this week on March 15th at 6 p.m. 11 students will be inducted, and Miss Pei is going to be the keynote speaker. The same day, March 15th at 7 p.m., the high school is going to be having the induction ceremony, and 13 students will be inducted that day. And Ms. Hammond will be the keynote speaker.
Nathan Solomon competed in the ISS MA State Solo and Ensemble contest last week at North Central High School in Indianapolis. He received a gold rating with distinction on his saxophone solo performance. The Bi-County Honored Band with Mrs. Brown performed at Attica High School under the direction of Mr. Andrew Messina, I assume that's how you say that, from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign this week. The students in the band are Emily Keeling, Madison Inman, Delina Martin, Nathan Solomon, Jesse Frazee, Caitlin Wadhams, Pam Carter, Owen and Nolan Acton. The FC Spring Musical will take place this weekend. It'll be Friday night or tomorrow night at 8 p.m., Saturday night at 7 p.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. With Mr. Shavy will be in there. Special cameo.
What's the name of the musical?
Twinderella or something.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a comedic spoof on Cinderella. It's Twinderella. Should be fun. And I do have a small part. Don't blink.
So good luck to them, and Mrs. Baldwin is the director for that play.
Thank you. Statements from the superintendent.
First of all, I just want to recognize last month, Mr. Miller and his ag team did the presentation during our spotlight. And I again want to recognize what a great job they've been doing this year. They have a lot of competitions coming up in the next week or so, and hopefully we'll get to hear lots more great things about what they're doing. So very appreciative of them. Also, Rachel Foxworthy and Ryan Hall, as well as the student group that were here tonight. I think we can all say that was certainly one of the highlights of this evening. The students are very excited about what they're doing, and you know, it was just great to see them because we don't always get to see some of the students that are working hard, that and we're trying to do that during our board meetings. I also want to thank Quinn, our IT director, who is now bringing our board meetings to the community by being here and videotaping them each time we meet, because we are working hard to seek full transparency for our community. We have added a lot to our board meetings, and this is one more piece to help the community to see all the great things that are happening here in the district. And so thank you, Quinn, for all the efforts that you put forth daily to just improve things with IT and help us be able to get more people to see what we're doing. Also quickly, I just want to give a statement about COVID. We're mask optional. I don't see a whole lot of people wearing them. Even on the buses now are mask optional. So that's been a nice thing that we've finally gotten to there, and hopefully it's been a long couple years from March of 2020 to March of 2022. So hopefully, you know, we're going to keep going in the right direction. Our current mitigation plan, if someone does have symptoms of COVID, then of course, you know, they're recommended that they get tested for it. And if they have it, they're recommended to stay home for the entire quarantine period. If they do come back, we're hopeful that they come back with masks, and that's our recommendation. But because we want to keep being able to be as much as possible mask-free. So I'm really excited to see that it looks like we've finally turned a corner. Moving on to discussion items, policy 513 is the policy on disposition of surplus property. And in that policy, it explains that if we have surplus property, I can put it up for the highest bidder, I can get it appraised and sell it, or I can donate to a not-for-profit organization or other governmental entity. At the elementary school, they got new risers for the school, so we have those risers to get rid of. We've been made aware of another school, a private Christian school that is looking for something like that and was willing to purchase them. My plan is I would like to donate our risers to them, and in kind, they can make a donation to us, and that would go towards our 50th anniversary celebration that we're planning for the elementary. So I just think that's a great way to help another organization in our community, and likewise get to help with what Kelly and her team have been planning for the 50th celebration. State Board of Accounts, just want to make you aware that our annual audit began today. The auditors right now are doing some things through documents that had to be submitted to them, but next week they will be coming on site, and they will be here over 2 weeks. So much of our spring break, they will be here. But they've asked to meet with Cindy and Scott and I on Tuesday, and then from then they'll just be going through things and checking it out. I also want to quickly update you on legislation, since the legislative session has now ended. Things that relate to education. First of all, a bill authored by Representative Michelle Davis, which will prohibit transgender girls from playing interscholastic girls' sports, is now before the governor for his signature. We don't have any, that has not been an issue here, but if it is, this bill would prevent students who were born female but identify as male from participating, it would not prevent students who were born female but identify as male from participating on men's sports teams. They could still do that. But the opposite would not happen. So if they're born male and identify as female, they could not participate in female sports. The legislation would also establish a civil action for violations, and schools wouldn't be subject to liabilities for complying with it. So they're saying, if we comply with this, a family can't sue us for it. Two other education-related bills, HB 1130 and 1251, also before the governor for his signature. Bill 1130 requires school boards to give the public an opportunity for public comment at all regular meetings, and also says school boards can only hold regular meetings online if there is a declared emergency and there's a particular danger or threat that would make an in-person meeting impractical or risk the health and safety of those attending. So I just want to say, you already allow public comment. One thing that got stripped from the bill when it went through was when it was first proposed, it stipulated how much time you had to allow people. They took that back out and said it's up to school boards. So it's what we do. You've already established how many minutes each person gets to speak and how much time is for that. So what was passed is exactly what we do anyway. House Bill 1251 says people that don't necessarily have a teacher's license or the same training as full-time teacher would be allowed to work in a school district under an adjunct status. And those adjunct teachers would not take part in collective bargaining. we're fully staffed, and I don't, at least right now, see this as something we have to look into, but it is an option for districts as needed. The bill also requires the Department of Education to prepare a report regarding establishing and implementing a parent-teacher compact program. It gives State Board of Education authority to adopt emergency rules for school accreditation and requires the driver of special purpose bus or vehicle to pass an expanded criminal history. We require that anyway. So these new bills are things we do. Bills that did not pass, that you heard a lot about, House Bill 1369, also known as the Harmful Materials Bill, which would have removed public schools and libraries from the list of entities with a defense to prosecution. The bill passed the Senate in February but did not get a vote in House. So it was stripped by there, so they took that out. House Bill 1369 included the harmful materials language. Following several last-minute changes, the bill passed out of the House but failed in the Senate, so that didn't pass. Senate Bill 124, I'm sorry, that was not the school one, I don't know how I got it in there, sorry. Senate Bill 167, House Bill 1134. This is one that you heard a lot about. It was going to require teachers to post all their lesson plans in June. It talked about prohibiting schools from talking about sex, race, ethnicity, religion, color, national origin, all that. Again, it did not pass it, so that bill is not on the table now. House Bill 1040 would have narrowed the way certain topics are taught in the schools by requiring schools to teach socialism, Marxism, communism, totalitarianism, or similar political systems are incompatible with and in conflict with the principles of freedom. That bill didn't even make it past the House committee. And House Bill 1072, for districts that do referendums, would have required to share what they get with any student that lives in your district and goes to a charter school somewhere. It would have required you to give some of your money to a charter school. That did not pass either. So those are the things that didn't pass. But what I do want to say, this pulls up really quickly here. Some of the things that didn't pass, but we are really working towards anyway, is transparency. Sorry. One of the things that we do here, and is really important to us in Southeast Fountain, on our website, if you go to the website and click on departments, you can go to the curriculum department homepage. I went to the one at the high school. So I just want to take you to a curriculum map, for example, for our 10th grade English. And families can go right on there and see what is being taught in those classes, the standards that are being taught and so forth. I pulled up an 8th grade curriculum map too. We also have Harmony, which our parents are given access to so they can go in and see what we're teaching. Also on our website, there's also a direct link to the Indiana State Standards so that parents can click right on there and see what the standards are for each subject that we teach. We do not teach things if there's barely enough time in the day to teach the Indiana standards. If you go in there and look, we don't have time to teach other things that that some groups may be trying to teach in other areas. Hasn't been a problem here, and it's not going to be a problem here. We're focused on the standards and following our curriculum maps, which are tied right into Indiana academic standards. So those are available already on our district website, and will continue to be monitored and updated as needed. And that's all I have to share with you.
Okay, thank you. Statements, concerns of the board?
I just want to say I really enjoyed the presentation that the kids did. And I think they had a ball doing it.
I want to say that I thanks to all the staff, students for the, getting through these last couple of years has been a struggle and a very big learning curve. And I think that we have done a great job here at Fountain Central keeping our kids educated to the standards, even though it's been very tough. You guys have jumped through hoops and backwards and upside down trying to figure out who needs to be at school and who needs to be quarantined and keeping those kiddos educated. And I know it's tough with that at-home stuff. My grandkids have all expressed to me how it isn't as fun to do schoolwork at home. So thank you guys for that. I want to say, as far as, we've talked about this before, the spirit that our school has, and maybe it hasn't been as well as we want it to be the last couple of basketball games, boys basketball games at the sectional. I thought our student section and the Cheerleaders did a fantastic job of coming alive and putting some spark, and I really think Carter could probably attest to this, but I think the boys reacted to that a little bit. I want to congratulate them on a great season. We went down as hard as we could go down, losing by 2 points to a team that's a very, very good team. Carroll, who had only lost one game all season, and I can pretty much tell you nobody thought we were going to play in that game with them, and we not only played in it, we were right there ready to win it, and it was a fantastic season for you guys. I want to congratulate you on that. So you guys have nothing to hang your head about on that last game. I mean, it was phenomenal to watch, but I thought our student section did a really good job at that game. Probably the best I've seen in several years. There wasn't a huge amount of kids there, but man, they were loud and just all over and stood up, and it was something to be impressed with. It wasn't, Josh? It was good. I loved it. Really good. I loved it. So thanks to Dr. Grimes and everything she's done, Lindsay, for putting these board meetings, making them a little more, I'll say, not so boring. The spotlight thing has, we've had several really good spotlights. I don't know how we can beat the one tonight. I really don't. That was just fantastic. Those kids did a fantastic job.
Step it up for April.
Yeah. Are you up for April?
No.
Oh.
I think I'm there enough person.
So, but that was really, those kids had fun, and I think we made their day when we voted it right here in our vote for them to go on that field trip.
I think them collecting the money for the trip is going to be the least of their problems.
Yeah. I already wrote it down. We at Nucor have a donation meeting tomorrow that might come up in.
Passed around a bucket here tonight.
Yeah.
You would have had a bunch.
So I want to thank everybody, and I'll say this for me, this is my 4th year on the board, and I've enjoyed it. Even in the not so fun moments, it's been a really good experience for me, and I appreciate you all being part of this program.
I just want to say, we've, as a board, there's, especially going into the 22-23 school year, there's a lot of changes, I think, that are ahead of us. And some new things that are going to be, coming to this school that we've not done in the past, but I'm excited for the team that we've got in place, the leadership we've got in place to make it happen. I think we've got a good group, so I'm excited for the days ahead for Fountain Central.
Anybody have anything else? If not, we'll take a motion for adjournment.
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?